Good afternoon. Yeah, I don't normally do chats on a Saturday. Or this is not a chat video as such. I'm going to talk about knives, but I don't normally do them on a Saturday. I normally try to leave it to the Sunday chats with Paddy. But I just felt this was. I got a couple of knives in, and they're older knives. But you can see by the title of your One Trick Pony, and it's not a trick title or anything else. It's just since I've changed over to collecting traditional models, I seem to have so much more scope to make my collection mine, and not just the one variety of, just the latest blade that's come out. I also like delving back into the past. And like, recently I've started my love affair with these Victorinox, which I never had, which is strange because most people love them. But I've actually grown to love them after 5 years on YouTube. So, but this is another side of my collection here that I like, and this is the older knives. A few of these knives here have gone back to the 1800s, up to the early 1900s. So these are knives that I want to just when I leave this the wee round ball, I want to be able to leave something behind that I'm hoping that one of my sons or one of my grandsons by then will take an interest and keep and sort of pass on that tradition down of the history of knives in my time that I was able to get. So I've got some crackers here, and I know that some of you have seen these before, but they're so lovely. It's just nice. I'm not going to go through them in any detail, but I'm just going to pop through them, and then I'm going to show you the two knives that I got, which are another genre. These are knives of the early to mid 1900s. So it's another step forward, if you like. So let's just get started. This is one of my favourite because there is a bit of a story behind it. This was made in Chattaraugus, and this was when W.R. Case first met his partner when they started in business together. And for the life of me, I can't think his name. And my books are all down the caravan, so I'm sorry about that. But this is one I believe that they would have done. This is early turn of the century, maybe late 1800s into the early 1900s, when they were still together before W.R. Case disappeared off the face of the earth. I don't know what happened to him. But this is one of the knives they made. And I do have the history, but it's just not here at the moment. You can see it there, Chattaraugus. These are knives that I don't do a whole lot to. They're just keepsakes. They really are just, but look at that for a knife that's, 100-year-old plus. It's still got snap. It's a little double-bladed pen knife. Absolutely. And they take a wicked edge. This is sharp as well. But, there's the modern version. There's the older version, nearly exactly the same size. So our tastes haven't changed. If you want a little pen knife, it was the same in the late 1800s as it is in the early 20s. So, I mean, it really just is. It just shows you that, yes, we have come a long way, but it's not that much different. You can still get bone, but I don't believe you'll get jigged bone like that. That it's one of my favorite bone knives ever. To me, it's just a story in itself. And the carbon steel blades that are still going strong after all these years, it works. I could actually use this. I wouldn't, but I could use this as an EDC. It is so sharp. And here's another one with just bone. This is just lovely bone. I'm not even sure. I think it's just cattle bone. It might even be another animal, but I don't have a lot of details on this one. And this is just a single pen blade. And this was made in Sheffield, England. And it just says stainless Sheffield, England. So this could have been from, I don't know, 30s, 40s. It looks like something like that for me. A little shield there, which isn't marked. There's nothing on the back side of it there. But a lovely little penknife. Just a single bladed penknife, much as I have in my Victorinox collection. But this, how much cooler does that look? That bone is just glorious, and it just looks like natural bone. It hasn't been dyed. And if anybody has given any ideas what that bone is, to me it's probably just cattle bone. But a gorgeous little knife. And you can imagine going back to the sort of I'll just go back to that period of time, the late 1800s to the early 1900s, having a little pen knife like this, how much use you would have for a knife like that, because you didn't carry anything else. I mean, scissors were not abundant. Well, I suppose they were, but I mean, this is just, to see if you're only looking for scissors, a man would have had that in his pocket. And I think, today what we need with these big, 4-inch handle or 4-inch handle, 4-inch blades beats me because we don't really need, well, I don't need them. Let me just talk about me. If you collect them, I'm really, really sorry, but I didn't mean to. I have them as well. But I mean, it's just a lot of the times we're over prepared now for what we actually need in our daily life. Is that a better way of putting it? So there's another lovely one. Here's another one. This is probably, I would say 40s, 50s. This is a two-bladed knife, and this is the ERA James Barber Sheffield. Beautiful. Listen to that snap on that. Beautiful little pen knife again. Absolutely stunning. You can see there. Oh, if I get that. There you go. Really clean knife, clean backspring. Them first three I've just showed you. Backsprings are beautiful. This is in like just a cheap plastic or whatever it was at the time. Although, look how well it's lasted. It's a bit yellower on one side than the other, but just a lovely, lovely piece. And here is another one of my favourite ones because it got my favourite cartouche. That lovely little shield on there. Again, just cattle bone. I don't believe it's anything more than that. A two-bladed little penknife. Beautiful condition. And this was Needham Brothers, Sheffield. Again, just another, not a big snap on this, but these knives, some of these I'm going to put into my bath, my ultrasonic bath, and take some of that gunk out of them. I haven't got around to using it yet. Other things on my mind. But isn't that just lovely? I just think these are really taking us back in the day when people didn't have the money for these, the fancy materials that we have now. And it does show you how much things have changed when you look at old knives. Here's a lovely old one, a Spanish one. It's a miniature version of the Navaja, which I think is a great blade shape. But I just want to show you this. If anybody has, it's Los Milgas, or I'm not even sure what that says. Maybe somebody else. There, it's there. Oh, maybe somebody who is, there you go. You can get this in focus. There we go. I'm not sure what it is. Obviously Spanish, but this is a really lovely carbon blade. Absolutely stunning. And it's one of these wee locks on the back here. I love this. And when it's opened up, it clicks open. It's so solid. And it's a 4-finger knife with a really good blade. So this is something that, you push this up and it disengages it. Oh, well, most of the time. Yeah, the old knives are great, aren't they, Paddy? Yes, this is great. But I mean, it really is a case of pushing it up, and I don't want to go too hard and break it. Come on, you little knife. Can't get it to go. Oh dear, I think I broke my knife. I'll leave that there and I'll do it later. That maybe needs a dunk in the bath. Sorry about that. But it worked lovely up until there. Here's another one, and this is somebody initials. This is the Pearl, not the Pearl, the what do you call that thing you do for? Oh dear, this is another one of Paddy's videos. Mother of Pearl. I couldn't get it. There we go. Mother of Pearl. Really nice little knife, and it's an older knife. And look at that backspring on that. Isn't that just beautiful? And I would say this is probably 50s as well. And this has got a solid silver blade. There you go. A solid silver blade. Made in Sheffield, I'm sure, but I don't have a maker's name. Not much of a snap on this, but again, I think when this goes into a bath, it will just clean it up lovely. So, there we go. There's the ones that I've got. This is my pierced resistance. This is early 1800s, I believe. If you just look at the way this is constructed, and this is bone, this is stag, I would say, proper stag, but it's so smooth where somebody has just rubbed it and rubbed it and rubbed it and carried it and used it. And this was a quill knife for cutting your quill. Look at that dinky little blade. Isn't that just beautiful? It's even got a long pull in it, but it's so thin now. It has been used. Look at it. But it has a lovely swedge on top. the detail that went into this little knife is just amazing. And to think that somebody sat at a table writing with a feather and using this to sharpen it, that just takes me back. That excites me. That's what this side of this hobby, where you don't have to just stick to one knife or one brand or one style. In traditional, I've managed to just break away and do all sorts of different knives, from the very modern to the very old. And one of the things that I love is steel knives. I have a complete collection. Well, not a complete collection, but I have a collection of them. Guess where they are? Yep, down the caravan. So this is what I picked up the other day that I just got because of the words that were on it. And it takes you back to that 50s, 40s, 50s sort of era when we spoke and how we spoke. This is obviously a knife that was given out to, I would say, chemists or whatever to sell in, or people that sold that sort of thing. It's a lovely pen blade, and it just says Sheffield, England on it. And on the other side, it says Westby. Westby Inks, Westby Sheffield. So, I mean, beautiful. But I loved it because it had that old for coughs and colds. But the bit that really got me was this: Obridge's Lung Tonic. Can you imagine calling, there it is there, Obridge's Lung Tonic. Can you imagine seeing that in a chemist today and being sold? I seen that and I just laughed and said, got to have it. Got to have it. It's a great little pen knife. Again, the age of these knives, this is probably near, 80-year-old or whatever. I don't know when it was made, but Lung Tonic, I thought was absolutely super. A great way to describe it. And then I was watching Cutlery Lover Jeff. I don't know whether you follow. I followed him for years. And he had got a knife sent to him as a gift. And it was a knife that I have seen so many times. And I thought, well, that's weird. Why would you have two little ring pulls at either end of the knife? Never thought to ask anybody. Never even thought to go and see if I could find a video with it, or even check my big books. But he showed it and somebody had to tell him what it was, and then I didn't feel as stupid. And this is it. Now, this is obviously it's a Mintex, whatever that was. It was a company, and you got a ring pull there and a ring pull there. And I thought, well, why would you want one at either end? Or is it for a left-hand pocket or right-hand pocket? That's all I thought. Just, it's a little pen knife again. This is Sheffield, England again. I love collecting my Sheffield, England knives, obviously because that's where I'm from. And another lovely blade there, hardly been used. But this is what I didn't know, and maybe you're the same as me. This little ring pull is for turning. So when you turn the ring pull, listen to that snap. It's for people that maybe have dexterity problems. And I just think it's so, and you turn it and it puts it back. Listen to the snap on that wee knife. Here's your smaller blade. Absolutely beautiful. Isn't that just gorgeous? I could sit and do that all day. I did not know this, and yet I'd seen them, because I go through Etsy and everywhere I can to find these old knives. Listen to the snap. That is just stunning. So I didn't know it. I learned something just by watching another YouTube channel who learned something through one of his subs. So if you've got any information on any of the knives that I've showed here, just let me know. I think that's lovely. But Oxbridge Lung Tonic, that was the one that took me to the fair. And that was the one that just made me want to make this video. And if you don't like this sort of stuff, you don't like this sort of stuff. I'm never going to change your mind. But I love having little pockets of this hobby all around me, different styles, different things. And to me, if I'd have kept with just modern knives, I was getting bored of it, because there isn't that much difference. Once you get down to it, you can only get so far with a high end where it's just costing you money for the same thing that's that's probably never going to get blunted. And that's my opinion, not anybody else's. So just spreading out a wee bit and opening up so many other avenues to this hobby. And I just want to encourage people, if you're just around, Don't just stick to the knives that are out there. Don't just spend a shed load of money on something that maybe won't interest you as much as finding out a bit of the history. Getting old knives. You don't have to have a huge collection. This is my sort of older collection. I have the metal ones down the caravan, and I'll always keep looking for these advertisement ones or something that's a bit different. There you go. I know it was a lot of waffle. So from this to that, it's knife. It's knife. And that's all that counts. We're knife lovers. But just open your mind up a wee bit, and maybe you don't have to go splashing that next £200 out. Buy a couple of these and put them in your collection. And maybe tell your children. I tell my grandchildren about them and my children, but I can't get them interested. All right, take care. Paddy's away. Sorry, a bit of a rambly one, but I got these in, and I obviously, what I do when I get things in, I tend to bring out what is around that era, and I sit and I just look at it, because some of these are masterful. They're all handmade from start to finish, and in an era when they didn't have the tools that we have now. So that's what gets me. And something like that that's a bit different, out of the way. This one I just adore. And this, as a feather cutter, pretty good to me. Take care. I'm away for a wee cup of tea. Bye-bye now. Bye.